Well, I'm Helen Haydock from Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin, and Herb and I were beer collectors, as you all know. Herb brought home his beer glasses when he came back from service in 1954. He got them in Germany. He was stationed there for 4 years. And I was teaching in Wisconsin Rapids. I had been there a year. We were out at a dance hall one time, and Herb was drinking beer, of course, and I was a teetotaler. I was having a Coke, and I was with a bunch of my faculty friends. And of course, Herb approached me, and 2 years later, we were married. I liked history, and I was interested in all of that. Early on, we started with the bottles, and we went with the embossed bottles then and started traveling out east where they had some. But then we saw the trays. Herb came out and said, there's a bunch of things over there that look sort of like pie plates. Let's look at them. Well, we looked at them, and we started buying. And then pretty soon, of course, anything that had the name of Breweriana. One Good Friday, we went to Cleveland, Wisconsin, and we stopped in a bar there, and he said, I don't have anything, but there's a livery stable out back. There might be something back there in the mangers. So guess who went out to the livery stable? Well, Herb visited with the bartender, and I found that Pabst bottle with the real ribbon on it. That's why I treasure that bottle. The bartender told Herb someone that had the corner sign from that brewery, essentially the brewery there. And that's where the first emblem for Naba came from. We started collecting quite heavily in the 70s, and we would drive out to Shep's Grove and Renninger's in the east. They were wonderful. And at one of them, we saw the lithos hanging on the clotheslines by clothespins. They were just paper lithos. And I said, Herb, those are beautiful. He said, Helen, the car is full. We have to stop and ship home now unless you want to ride on the fender. We didn't buy them, but you know what happened later? We bought them once they were framed or manted, and we paid for them then. We started going to the Indianapolis Ad Show, and that's where the Naba actually was formed. John Murray from Chicago and Dick Book from Milwaukee said, we'll have a meeting and we will form it. Dick lived in Milwaukee, had a bar in Milwaukee, so we went over and had a meeting, and that's when he formed Naba. We named it the National Association of Breweriana Advertising, of course, because Will had coined the name Breweriana. We wanted it to be national, and it was for collecting advertising. So you just put that all together, and you got National Association of Breweriana Advertising. John was elected the president because he was one of the promoters of it, and he just got talking to Herb and I at the Indy Ad Show, and then the interest just grew together. Dick, of course, had the tavern in Milwaukee, and he got a lot of good things because these older gentlemen would come into the tavern to get their drinks and things, and lots of times they brought some pretty good old Breweriana stuff in to trade for their bar bill or to sell to him. So he later moved to northern Wisconsin and bought a resort, and he put all of his collection up in that resort. We had a thing about having family members. We knew that not all wives were interested in collecting, and the children, so we would have special tours for their wives, and we would have special activities for the children, and we also tried to impress young people to come to our convention. And I think that's why I used to volunteer to sit at the hospitality desk, registration desk, because I got to see these people right away. And Herb, he was sitting out in the lobby waiting for everybody to come. He wasn't just waiting to buy what they were bringing in. He was waiting to greet the people. It was the fellowship. We look forward to seeing everybody at those conventions. Well, I think it's wonderful we have all the collectors, and that we can keep the young collectors. We have to make it available and try to impress upon them that you don't have to spend this money. Herb always said, you don't ruin your family budget. You stay within your budget, but you come and learn. And that was the thing we thought was so important, was that they came and learned and they observed going from room to room. Well, then we had the auctions, they could listen to those. And then of course, the magazine has grown to be a wonderful magazine. And I think that's good for people too. When they could get this every 3 months or 4 months, they have contact with the club, and they also get to just hear about everything that's going to happen. And so it's very important, and we're very pleased with the way it has grown. Yes, it got so big, and we were filling up everything, but we had to find a place, and we knew we didn't want to sell it. We read about Mr. Dieter's building the complex at Oldenberg, and it sounded like he wanted to show the history of brewing through the building. He made it look like a beautiful old brewery, and it was. And he was brewing good beer, and he was having the great hall where they had, like you would think you were at an Oktoberfest. And he wanted all those things, and Herb read about it in one of the trade magazines, and he called him up and said, I think we could go together. Well, we had 2 large, huge moving vans full that we packed, and we went down and put it all on the shelving, and then the decorators that they had hired to decorate the complex came. They took one look and they said, we can't do this. And Mr. Dieters called. He said, I have a problem, He said, will you help out? And Herb said, well, we'll come down, and we'd love to do it, and all we want is for you to provide us a room for us in the hotel, and we will come down and try to do it. And we went down and got everything sorted, and then we did one section at a time, and then we'd move on to another section. The first section we had to do was a concourse, because they were going to have open house, and we had to have something up to sell what was coming. And then we just moved on to each section of the Great Hall, and it was a big place. It was just great fun. Yeah, we started looking for places that might like a second collection, and so we just thought, well, we'll just wait. And then Mr. Minhouse heard about we had the collection. He was very interested in history, and so he came to see us, and he said, would you get of us a collection? And we said, yes, we will loan the collection to him. As time went on, the management changed, so we decided we'd have to take it back. My savior stepped in, Chris, and he said, I would love to buy that for the Naba Museum, the Cone Top Museum. Today we're starting to take it out of the museum and get it ready to go to Cone Top Museum in Vicksburg, and I'm very grateful for it. This happened this way, and we know that Chris is going to take excellent care of it, and it's going to be displayed very, very well, and probably better than what I would do, and what Chris Herb now, and with our age we couldn't do it. So he's been our savior for Naba and for us. The Cone Top place will be a good place for our collection, because it's being sponsored by Naba, and we know that Chris will take good care of the collection, and he will display it very well. So we just have the feeling that this is the ideal place.